Maseches Bava Metzia. Maseches Bava Metzia. We are in Daf Yud Ches Amud Beis, in the bottom of the page. Baruch Hashem. And this year is Lefuas Norman Pro Lea Bastom Shmuel Avron Ben Yudis Yudis Basrif Kapnina Chai Bas Gul Arochel Ruben Yaakov Ben Golda Esther Gabriela Batzor Chana Batzim Tomo Bas Nomi Bela Zislu Bava Tzviosel Benis Denis Shalom Yosef Ben Hinda. And today for Yaakov Ephraim Ben Soro going through surgery today. Yaakov Ephraim Ben Soro, Hashem send him great refuah shlema. So it's time to start. Yeah. Almost. Yudches Beis. We are in the fifth line from the bottom of the page. Today's page is Yudches Amud Aleph, but Yudches Amud Beis is the where we're holding right now. So we're talking here about a lost get, as my title goes, get lost. Yeah. So lost get lost. That's what happens when she told him get lost. So yesterday there was a little bit of confusion on my side. At the end of the shir, so we're going to restart from Rav Ashi. Basically, we have two different narratives to the story. If one found the get, and the get is not agreed by anybody. Let's say the husband says, "I did not give it." The woman says, "Yes, I did receive it." Then you don't give it. Don't touch, because we don't know who's right. So whichever situation would be dangerous. We don't want him to have the get and claim, in case she was divorced, he's going to claim that he already paid her ksuba. In case she's not divorced, and she'll hold on to a get and she'll say that she is divorced, that's an ish alma. That's really bad. A married woman with a false document telling everyone she can get married, that's bad news. Now, what happens if both sides agree? That is also a problem. Why? If both sides agree, thank you. If both sides agree that really the get was given to her, what's the issue? The issue is maybe this get that you lost, meaning you are, let's say, the shliach from the husband to the wife, or you are a regular guy, innocent guy who found a get in the street. The get that you found may not be the same get that was given by this guy. Maybe there are two people with the same name. And if you're in a busy place, that's really bad. Maybe you lost one get. There have been a few other people with gittim walking around there, and maybe what you lost is not what you found. And if a woman gets the wrong get, excuse the pun, then really she's not divorced. Could we look the same, smell the same, and feel the same, and have the same names? But if it wasn't related by her real husband to her real self, it's not a get, and that's a problem. That was generally the issue. Now, says Rav Ashi a solution. And by the way, he's also coming to answer a contradiction. Yeah, the Mishnah and the Brisa, one of them said it's okay, one of them said it's not okay. Says Rav Ashi, you know when it's okay to give the get and go ahead and give the get? Going to Ka'omar, let's say the husband who says that the get is good and he gave it, or the wife, a woman is also Ne'eman, or the Eidim, anybody involved in the writing or receiving of the get, say, Nekev yesh boy betzad ois ploinis. Let's say they say that by the side, right near a specific letter, let's say that Tzadi Soifis at the end of the second line, yeah, at the end of the Rabinovich over there, at the end of that Tzadi over there, the specific hole, a little perforation, and Nekev, that is a very good siman. It's a very good mark, which means, let me give a small, and I'll continue, and then I'll give the explanation. The davka betzad ois ploinis. Only if the level of the siman is so high, it's called siman muvhak. Siman muvhak means a very good, significant siman. And he says it's a nekev. You call the husband, and he says yes. The get has a hole in very specific place, right by the specific letter. Then it's a siman. Aval nekev be'alma. Let's say you call the husband or the wife or whoever, and they say, yeah, the get has a hole in it. The same that the get has a hole of perforation, that is a siman of a much lower level. It's a regular siman, not a siman means a mark or a sign, yeah? A way to identify, identification mark. So nekev be'alma loy, which means like this. There's a whole issue in the Gemara later on in the second parak. We are getting ready to the second parak. Fun. In the second parak, we're going to see what happens when somebody lost an object, regular object. They lost a baseball cap, they lost a baseball bat. I don't know what they lost, yeah? And now that person, how do you return a lost object to the person? By simonim. And there's an allusion to that in the Torah. So now the question that the Gemara has later on is about simonim which are not muvhakim, which means if a person, you call him and you say, Mister, I found what I think may be a baseball, whatever you advertise, I found a baseball hat, a baseball cap, and a person comes and tells you, yes, that baseball cap is blue and it has, I don't know, Chicago Bears written in it or whatever that is, yeah. And also there's a very specific hole or specific yellow little mark, exactly by the letter B, whatever. So that is extremely unlikely that two hats are the same and other people would know about it. Yeah, that is so significant, so different. You can't just make it up. What's called beyond reasonable doubt. And such a simon for sure is good. And listen to this, it's the oraisa. When the Torah says you return a lost object to its real owner, how does the Torah know it's the real owner? The Torah says if you know 100% it's the real owner by a siman muvhak or beyond reasonable doubt, because the person gave you such a siman that nobody else can just make up, right? Such a siman definitely midoraisa is a good siman. Okay, the question that the Gemara has later on and reflecting on us is, what about siman she'ena muvhak? You say, at the end of a baseball game, a guy says, I found a baseball cap. Which baseball cap? Comes the guy and tells you it's blue, and there are white letters in it that say, I don't know what Mashiach now, whatever, I don't know, some. Okay, that is a siman, but not muvak, because you can have other caps exactly the same. It's a sign, it's a siman, but of a lower level. And here the Gemara has a question later on whether it's the Raisa or the Rabbanon. The concept that such a siman, a regular siman, works in order to give it back to the owner. Is it the Oraisa? Does the Torah actually endorse such a thing? Is it a Torah idea or the Rabbanon? You may ask, who cares? At the end of the day, we return it to the owner. If an owner gives you a siman which is not muvak, yeah, maybe he's not the owner. The Torah says it's good enough for me, or maybe Rabbanon say it's good enough for me. You know what's enough community between them? Says the Gemara later on and now, Gitei Noshim. When it's either my baseball cap or not, or even whether it's my $1 million or not my $1 million in the specific kind of bag, that is only to do with money. Money is worth less than an Ashes Ish. An Ashes Ish, to allow her, to permit her to marry somebody else, is much more severe. Why? For many reasons. And also, the idea of money is hefker based in hefker, which means when it comes to inyonim of money, to matters of money, Chachamim can say, listen, the Torah would not actually endorse giving back a baseball hat just by the regular simonim that it says in it in white letters, NYC, and it's blue. They may not be enough, but Rabbanan have the power, and that's a big yesod in the entire Shas. Hefker based in hefker. Chachamim have every right in the world to play around with people's money as much as they deem fit. Of course, not for their own benefit. The Chachamim can establish whichever establishment, whichever system they want to say this is belonging to him or vice versa. When it comes to a get, no. An Ashes Ish, Chachamim cannot play around with an Ashes Ish Chash V'Sholem. And therefore, if you say Simonim are Darabanon only, regular Simonim are Darabanon, such as, back to our case, I found a get in Tachana Merkazit, yeah? So, there's a big chashash. Maybe somebody else lost it and I found someone else's get. I give a call, I go to the guy and say, do you know where, give me a siman, Mr. Husband or Mr. Wife or both. And they say, yeah, there's a hole. To say that there's a hole, it's not a siman muvak, because maybe they just happen to know that there's a hole, not to know. They're giving a good guess that there's a hole. It's not the hole in a certain corner of the get, which is a super duper siman, which is definitely good. They say there's a siman. To say that there's a siman, if simonim are only the rabbanon, then no, then it's not going to work in the get, because when it comes to money, Chachamim can say we decide that Reuven's money is going to go to Shimon. Chachamim can play the monopoly game here when it comes to money and say, for us, we decided the low-level simonim are good enough for me to give the $1 million to the one who says it was found in a red bag. Red is good enough. But She'enken and Eshes Ish, Chachamim cannot play around with that. Only if we know that simonim are deoraisa and the Torah believes that regular low-level simonim are good, then a get of a woman can be determined by that. Thank you for the tea. Thank you very, very much. Now, okay. So now it says Rav Ashi, 1 second. It's not over. So I would say again. So what does Rav Ashi say? Let's repeat and understand what's going on. If you found a get, hi, Mr. So-and-so, I just found a get. Does that belong to you? I think I know. You're Yosef ben Shimon and you're married to Shprinza Be'el Bashul Mil from Beitar Giv-Abi. Yes, it's me, says the husband. And yes, she's divorced. Shprinza Be'ela, I'm divorced, Baruch Hashem. So then what? Everything goes very well. How do you know it's theirs? Maybe it fell from somebody else. If they both say, or one of them at least says, there's a perforation, a small one, right next to the aleph in the middle of the third line. Wow. They can't just guess that. That for sure is good enough. But if they say there's a perforation, that is a siman which is what? A regular siman. If simonim are good midoraisa, you can give it back to them. If simonim are midorabanan only, no. Rabbanan cannot implement any new halacha that they invented on a get isha to allow an isha to marry somebody else. Chas v'sholom, maybe she's married. Now, does that mean that Rav Ashi thinks that regular simonim are not good enough? Says the Gemara, no. Let's continue. Rav Ashi misapkele. Rav Ashi has a suffix, is not sure. Rav Ashi is in doubt whether simonim midoraisa derabanan. It's not that Rav Ashi thinks simonim are derabanan and Rabbanan can't play around. Simonim may be doraisa or maybe derabanan. If simonim are good enough in doraisa, you can give back the get or give her the get. If simonim are derabanan, you cannot give her the get. Guess what? That's a suffix, whether you can give the woman a get or not. You tell me. A suffix Eishes Ish is allowed to marry anybody she wants? No. Chas v'sholom. It's a terrible Issa doraisa of an Eishes Ish. And therefore, the suffix doraisa derabanan makes Rav Ashi say, stay put and don't give it to her as long as she or he don't give you a super duper siman muvhak, and that's for sure good doraisa. That's like edim. That's like above reasonable doubt, and only then you can. By the way, when I say give back, by the way, I am using the lotion of the Gemara. Really, it's not giving back. Tosfos says it means the husband has to reappoint him as a shliach. The husband should say to him face to face. I don't know if over the phone it works or not. I don't think so. And he should tell him, go take the get and give it to my not beloved wife. Yes. Rabba Bar Chana. Rabba Bar Chana, Irkas. Rabba Bar Chana was a shliach for a get, to give a get to a woman. Irkas le gita be midrasha. He went to a bes medrash on his way from the husband to the wife, and he lost the get, Omar, and he said to the people of the bes medrash, Simono islay begavei. If you're looking for simonim, if you want me to give me simonim, I have a simon. I'm the shliach. I also know how the get looks like. So if anybody found the get, should give it back to me based on a simon. And what kind of simon is that? That we're going to see later. Itvius eina isli begavei. If you want to return it to me because of tvius ein, that's a new idea. What's tvius ein? I'll say soon. If you don't follow the rule by simonim, if what's going to cause you to give me back is not the simonim I'll give you, that hole or that crease or that something, but my tviut ein, I also have that. What's tvius ein? Tvius ein means like this. Tvius ein means as follows. Tvius ein means people know what belongs to them. When you see a whole bunch, remember my teacher in Kita Dala did this to us, if you see a whole bunch of Gemaras, you'll sort of naturally, without even knowing why, you'll know this Gemara is mine, or this coat is mine, or sometimes even this hat is mine. They say many times, like in the mirror, like thousands of hats hanging there, and most guys know which hat belongs to them, even though from some reason they're all black, yeah, as far as I checked, yeah. In other words, we know what belongs to us sort of like naturally, by the general looks of it. Is that good enough for a guy to come and say, oh, this thing I know is mine, therefore it's mine because I just have my tviut ein, my eye sank into it, like litboa, my eyes into it. What? Yeah, simple recognition. You're gonna laugh and say, aha, anybody can actually, yeah, anybody can say it's mine and lie about it. Exactly. That's why the Gemara says later on, only a Talmid Chacham is relied on when it comes to Tvius Ein. You show the item to Talmid Chacham, and he says, yes, I know for sure it's mine. If the person is a real refined Talmid Chacham, like Talmid Chacham should be, and he told you this Gemara is mine, this baseball hat is mine, or these shoes are mine, then we believe him not only because of goodwill, because we know that he has Tvius Ayin and also is honest about it. Well, Amaretz also has Tvius Ayin, but an Amaretz may lie. Yeah, we don't believe him. We know that he thinks it's his, but maybe he's lying about it. Actually doesn't think it's his. The Ritva says he's lying outright. He's just lying, so he can't rely on Tvius Ayin. So here came Rabbi Barbachan and says, I either have Simonim, or if you just believe my Tvius Ayin, I know the size of the get, I know the looks of the get, give it to me. Adruani alei, they really gave it back to him. All ended very happily, yeah, and they gave him back the get, and he continued to travel to Prince Abela. Omar, afterwards he says as an afterthought, he added, Lo yodana, I don't know, im shum simono adruani alei. I don't know if they gave it back to me because of the simon that I gave them. They gave it back to me. The kasav simoni doraisa. Oh, you see, the simon he had was a simon not muvhak. He gave a simon that's not muvhak, and there's a question whether the simon, which is not muvhak, a regular run-of-the-mill mediocre simon, is it good enough or not? When they gave me back the get, could be the reason they gave it back to me is even though I gave them a very middle of the road simon, maybe they think that all simonim are definitely doraisa, and if so, even an Eshes can go by that. It's a doraisa. The Torah says we believe a simonim all the way across the board, all the way through entire Tarek mitzvahs. Or maybe the reason they gave it back to me, they didn't tell me. Maybe they just trusted me when I looked and I said, yeah, that's my get. Yeah, I can recognize it. It's mine. The davka tzuva midarabonon. Only a tzuva midarabonon. Only a Talmid Chacham is believed to say, I have Tvius Ayin. Aval inish de alma loy. A regular person is not believed. Why? Because regular people, they may think or they may lie. They may have Tvius Ayin. We believe other people also have Tvius Ayin. Taisus actually points out something very interesting that we saw in Bava Daf Kuf Sameches. He brings down over here that what happens if you have a Talmid Chacham that's very tsanua, like very Hasidish, like nowadays, and he dated a girl and he saw her once, and now 12 months later, he's actually standing under the chuppah. Maybe they're giving him the wrong girl, like in some comedy show, or maybe somebody wants to trick him, and he doesn't know. He saw her at the date, because you have to see her, the Rambam, the Ravid discuss it. He saw the girl, but he saw her not so mavchin. He didn't look exactly the shape of her nose and the shape of her eyes and how beautiful and all this, because he is tsanua. So what should he do? He should take an Amoritz with him who knows the girl, take a guy who knows how to look at women, yeah, and that guy knows it's the same girl. The regular guy, who's not such a big tzaddik, it doesn't mean that he's very porous. The other guy is not a rosho. The guy he knows, recognizes a woman look. So then the same guy who knows the girl, he knows it's the same Prince Abela he dated last year. Yeah, it's her. Take an Amoritz, and so you see Dafka Amoritz has Tvius Ayin, and Amoritz can recognize it's the same girl 12 months later. Elama, it's true that he has Tvius Ayin, but when he has his own negia, the Amoritz now wants to get his baseball hat, $1 million, or I don't know what, his sandwich, and he's going to give you a no sima, just, yeah, I recognize it's mine. Maybe he's lying. That's why we don't believe him. A Talmid Chacham who says, I'm just recognizing it naturally, we believe him that he doesn't lie. Talmid Chacham here means a very obviously honest, good person. Then we say that belongs to him. Gufa. Now we're going to talk about another issue to do with Mr. Get Lost. Gufa comes now the Gemara and talks about another point related to the lost get, and it has to do with their favorite subject many times of the get of the shtar mukdam, the predated shtar. I don't like this translation. I'm just giving up to people. The shtar that was written before the actual loan. This case it's a bit different, but it's similar. Let's see. Gufa. Matza get isha bashuk. Same story. He found a get of a woman in the shuk in the marketplace. Isman shabal moide yachzir leisha. If the husband admits to who? Admits to her, agrees to her, and they both sing the same song that the get was given, and the get fell from her, give it back to the woman. All nice, all very good. When do you do that? Not always, right? You only do that when you have a simon, when you have a perforation, or if the edim told you that it's that's the get signed on. Ein a bal moide. If the husband does not agree and he says, no, I never wrote that, right? If the husband says, no, I never gave it, and the woman says, yes, you gave me, then in such a case, just freeze the whole process. Don't give it to anybody. Says the Gemara, Bisman, that's the end of the Bryce. Says the Gemara, deriving from the Bryce, Bisman Shabal Moide, Mia Yachzir Leisha, right? We see that if both sides agree, husband and wife, that the get should go to her, then you give it back to her. Okay, very nice. When did you find it? When did you find this get? Let's say today in Elul, Tezain Elul, you found it. When was the get written? Maybe there's a story here with the dates. So who cares? Lamais, at the end of the day, you give it to her. She's divorced and it's all over. Now she's happy and free. What's the story? Frag the Gemara as follows: the leichush, let us be concerned. Shema kosav liten benisan, regardless of when you found it. Maybe he, the husband, wrote the get already in Nisan 6 months ago. Maybe that get was in the husband's pocket. Things started getting sour. Blinches were not coming his way. And from her side, he kept piling up the dirty socks near the bed. And there was just no solution. So what did he do? He already wrote the get and kept it in his pocket or in his drawer. No, save it for a rainy day. Yeah, just in case. He actually gave her the get 6 months later. So really, what's going on now? The get was given in Tishrei 6 months later and was written 6 months before the actual giving of the get. Was written 6 months in his pocket and then was given to her only 6 months later. So what? So what's the issue? Oh, it's a shtar, but which money is involved? It's not ksuba. Actually, be surprised. Yeah, you, Arav Gitzin, already is guessing something here to do with money. We don't like shtaras that are written early because that's a very easy way to have a black hole regarding lying to the lakuchos. Here, listen to the story. Our concern is as follows. The Ozal Baal, the concern is like this. Before we continue, sorry, we all know from previous Masechtes what is nichse miloog. But although we know it, I'll say it again. Nichse miloog means a woman has money before the chasana. She has a field with trees and fruit, let's say, make it simple. No apartments today. An orchard. She has an orchard, very nice, a grove and orchard. Yep. And in that orchard, the trees that grow and fruit, she gets married, and they write in the ksuba that this should be divided by them as long as they're married, the nichse miloog. Nichse miloog means the body of the land belongs to her, and the fruit belongs to him, and he sells the fruit, and he can use the fruit, eat the fruit, sell the fruit, and this way help the family's financial situation. Now, what happens? The Ozal Baal, the husband, during those 6 months, when he's still married, and he can still sell the fruit, Zabin Peri, Minisan ve'ad Tishrei, he's going to sell all the oranges and the apples and all the nice fruit of the orchard, whom, again, she owns, but he owns the fruit. So he has the right to sell them during those 6 months. And then, Mazel Tov, in Tishrei, they got divorced. You know what she's going to do now? She has tremendous Yetzer Hara. She has no money, divorced woman, single parent. Easy way out. You know what she's going to do? Umapka legita de kosav benisan. She's going to take the get that was written in Nisan. That's a very misleading get. Because then she'll tell everybody, you know when I got divorced? It wasn't Tishrei like you thought. Really, I got divorced in Nisan. And look, the shtar proves it. Yeah, the shtar proves it that really I was already divorced in Nisan. And you know, when my husband sold you all these beautiful oranges, they weren't really his. You know why? Because after the divorce, which she lies and says was in Nisan, after the divorce, automatically the nichse miloog go back to her. So she says, when my husband sold you all those fruits, they really already belonged to me. And then she'll take back and very justifiably go to them and rake back from them all the fruit. You don't have the fruit, give me the cash that the fruit's worth. And then the Asya Lemitraf, she'll come to be Toref, to collect and take Lekuchois, the clients, the regular clients that we're always concerned about, Shaloi Kedin. Yeah, not according to halacha. She's lying. You're mamish causing a michshol over here. A woman has a get that proves, so to speak, that she was divorced 6 months earlier to the actual divorce. And when you give back the shtar to the lady, because you found it in Tachana Merkazit, and everyone says, yes, yes, that's my get, you don't know. Maybe he gave it 6 months, maybe he wrote it 6 months prior to the giving. In those 6 months, she's going to go now and collect from people claiming that she was already divorced and the husband sold it to them wrongly. And she's the one obviously wrong. She's stealing from them. That's a question. We have a lot of questions also to ask about that, but that's a question now. The Gemara now elaborates. The Gemara now goes into a potential answer. Hanicha. Now, before we continue, there's a machloikes of Yochanan and Reish Lakish about how long does the husband eat the fruit of how long does the party go on for? Yeah, she brought you a pardes, an orchard full of fruit. You sell the fruit, you eat the fruit. What happens when you decided we're going to get divorced? You decided to divorce her already. Do you still eat the fruit? We think yes, because they're still married. Apparently, that itself is a machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan here is saying otherwise. Hanicha, we don't have a problem. We are okay. Our concern is not a concern. Leman de Omar, according to Man de Omar, Rabbi Yochanan, Kevin Shanosa be'enav legarsha. Once he set his eyes to divorce her, if he wrote a get, that is to say, he's thinking of divorce. A regular nice husband loves his wife, doesn't write gittin. Shuv ein labal perois. Then the husband has no fruit. Yeah, hear what he's saying? Once the husband wrote the get 6 months earlier to today, he really doesn't have the fruit. So then she's right. Shapir, then good. If a woman would go and say, excuse me, my husband wrote you the fruit illegally, she'll be absolutely right. She'll be right. Because really, according to Rabbi Yochanan, once there was any kind of decision or thought of divorce, like you can't have relations with her, So also he doesn't get the fruit. You're thinking of divorce, no fruit, mister. And therefore, at that point, she's right. If she'll collect it from them. Because you really sold it illegally. What's the problem? But according to Reish Lakish, that says, Yesh laba'al peiros ad as nesina. Reish Lakish says the Baal still collects the fruit and takes the fruit and eats the fruit and sells the fruit until the last moment when he gives the get. So if so, during those 6 months, he was right by selling the fruit up until the last moment. And if she will now have a get that proves in inverted commas that she really got the get earlier to his selling the fruit, she'll be lying to all the lekuchos, like a classical shtar mukdam. Then Michael and Emar, what are you going to say? So what are you going to say now? How do you allow such a get to be returned? Aren't you? Who's you? You, by the way, is a finder, and you should know, and I saw that in the Rashba yesterday, you should know the finder asks who? Beis Din. A person who sees a get can't just give it back just like that. It's not a baseball cap, and it's not even $1 million. It's more. It's the get. The get is something that is directed, as I told Ellen yesterday, as instructed only by Beis Din. If Beis Din why do Beis Din endorse such a thing to give back a get to a woman when you don't know? Maybe the get was written 6 months before, and you're now cooperating with a woman who may be right that she's divorced, but she's lying regarding the dates, and the get supports her, and all the lekuchas are going to lose the money of 6 months. Answers the Gemara. We have a solution. We have a good solution. We have a technical solution. You're right. So let's add another halacha here. Ki asil mitaf. When she'll come to be litaf, when she'll come to collect the goodies from the lekuchos, amrin and law, we are not stupid. Who is we? Took me a long time yesterday to figure out who is we, if it's a person or the Beis Din. The person, meaning the lekuchos. What's our concern again? Now let's retell the story from a different perspective, like in a nice story. I am Mr. Buyer. I bought some oranges from a guy. You know these guys who by the side of the road, yeah? They sell oranges and tutim, and right? And you don't know Shemitah, don't Shemitah, so you don't have to buy. You drive down your car down 38 and you see, yeah, let's say the one who sells you all the fruit, he sold you nice oranges and you still have them at home. Then you get a knock on the door from a lady, and I'm the lekuach, I'm the customer. She said, the guy who sold it to you, he's my husband, and he sold the fruit from the orchard of our marriage, And it was really, when he sold it, it was after we were divorced. And look, here's my shtar. Here's my get. My get was 6 months ago, and he sold it to you yesterday or today. Give me back the oranges. You think I'll just give it to her lying down? Do you think I'm a doormat? No, I'm a lakuach. Lakuchas are not so stupid. And also, she can only do it by Beis Din. That I don't know if only, usually it's done by Beis Din, because it's not just him and her. She's involving other people, and it could be a lot of money. Maybe it's cash. So Mimela, we, Beis Din, endorsing the lakuach, would tell her, excuse me, lady, we're going to start asking questions. You ever get, you holding to your get like a policeman with a card, you know, I got, look, it says Nissan 6 months ago. We'll ask her, lady, I siraya emas mata gita layodech. We're going to ask her nicely, lady, give us a proof when the get came to your hands. What kind of proof? Edim. We're not stupid. We know she can play that game of mukdam, and therefore we, based in endorsing the lakoach that she's trying to ransack, to be toiref, will tell her, give us edim, bring us 2 edim. Yes, those people are very kosher Jews. Give us edim, bring us edim that will tell us when you got divorced. In fact, where did it reach your hands? Then she'll be stuck. Very easy solution. And therefore, we say, give her the get. If she'll give us hard time regarding the lakuchos, then the lakuchos, endorsed by Beis Din, will say, prove to us when it was actually given to you. Don't just show us the date of the writing. And then she'll be stuck with egg on her face. She will not be able to go ahead with her lie, with a fib. Okay, that's one solution. Now the Gemara is going to ask a question. Yes, you can also ask a question now. Yeah. If so, you have such a good, listen to this. You actually have a good solution to a shtar mukdam. You ask her, when did you actually get the get? If so, you found such a nice solution, why can't you use it in other places? The line starts with the word choiv, above the middle of the page, Yutes Amud Aleph. What's the difference between this and shitrei choiv? A regular shtar choiv, no marriage, no shmarriage, just regular people who lend money to each other. What does it say over there? And that takes us long time back before. That none. It says in the Mishnah, Motza shitrei choiv. A person found shitrei choiv, regular shtar choiv. Reuven owes Shimon $1 million. Im yesh ben achrais nechosim. If it says, or it should say, or automatically indicates what? That if Shimon fails to pay, then Shimon's lekuchos, Shimon's customers, Shimon's buyers will have to take the brunt of it, and it's mortgage, basically. They'll have to lose it and give it to Reuven the Malveh. Lo yachzir, don't give it back to the Malveh. Ukimna, that's the end of the Mishnah. We, Ukimna, we the Gemara, the Amoraim explained it. Shechayev moide, even if both sides agree, oh, so hunky-dory, so beautiful, Malveh and Loive both agree that really the Malveh should hold on to the shtar, right? Remember that? And everyone's agreement that the Malveh should have it, don't give it back. Why not give it back? Umishum, same old story. We're concerned of an early shtar, but it's not predated, by the way. It was written before the Alvo. Umishum, because Shema Kosav Lilvois Ben Nisan, maybe the shtar was written in Nisan, and the loive may write the shtar independently. He's thinking of borrowing. He's thinking of borrowing money. He prepares the shtar already in case he needs to borrow. Baruch Hashem, he managed to somehow schlep it for 6 months. Veloilovo ad Tishrei. Oh, the actual loan only took place in Tishrei. Now the Malveh has a shtar in his hands that is treif, a bad shtar. Why? Because the katorif lekuchos shaloi kedin, right? We say we are concerned once the get fell, then that means the get is already under, scrutiny. How do you say it? Scrutiny. We have to scrutinize what's going on here. It's under investigation. We don't like gitim or stars or gitim that fell somewhere. It's something not kosher over here. Regular good get or good thing, a good shtar wouldn't fall. And we're concerned. Maybe really that shtar was written 6 months to the actual loan, right? And it's exactly the same problem, right? Maybe the poor lakuchos will be cheated, as we explained many times before. The chashas shall repeat. Again, he's going to go to lakuchos who bought stuff from the loive between Nisan and Tishrei and falsely claim, your land was mortgaged to me before you bought it. And look, the star says Nisan. It's not true. They bought it in ER, they bought it in Tammuz, they bought it in Elul. Between Nisan and Tishrei, they bought it, and they really bought it before he was in the story. And he's lying, Sean Kilo is before. It's like you wait in line. People do that. You wait in line, you know, in the bank where they have, yeah. And really, number 33 is about to come to the cashier, and you somehow managed to get an earlier petek than your number 2. You came later, but you show as if you were there before. Yeah. Yo. I hope I'm not teaching you how to trick. Okay. That's a different story. Frag the Gemara. Awesome, Nami. Says the Gemara, what's a big problem? Frag the Gemara, if you have the solution over here, you can use the same solution over there. Awesome, Nami. Over there too, in the case of the shtar choiv lihada, give back the shtar to the malve, okay, and don't be concerned about predating. When the malve will come knocking on the door of the lekuchos and say, hey, this land is mine, we'll tell him the same thing. Namely, we, based in endorsing the lekuchos, will tell him, I siraya, bring a proof, emas moto shtar chov liodcho. Bring a proof, when did the shtar chov come to your hands? Give a proof, when did the shtar chov come to you? Exactly the same thing. We're basically now, it's a tremendous Gemara. We're trying to shoot the entire problem of shtar mukdam. We're going to find a very easy solution. Whenever a person comes and wants, actually, it's not supposed to, if it's whenever, only when the get fell, that's machlokes rishonim, which I'll tell you later. But basically speaking, just like you have a solution over here of what? Of a get that fell, and we're concerned maybe the date is not really synchronized with the time it was given, and you said, okay, what's the problem? When she comes to collect, we'll ask her, lady, firmly, when did you get the get? Not only what's written, and she'll be forced and cornered, and she'll be caught lying, unless she's right, and then, yeah, better, and then she'll give us the edim. But why don't you use the same solution for every shtar mukdam, and done with the whole shtar mukdam business? Whenever a person comes to Beis Din, and we're talking about shtar that fell, he'll come to take from the malve, will come to the lekuchas to collect from them. We'll tell him, no, we don't believe your shtar anymore just as of itself. We learned about shtar mukdam, and by the way, I'm adding what the Rishonim say, we know that this shtar fell and was given through Beis Din back to the original owner. A shtar that fell, the Rishonim say, have a call. If a shtar fell and was lost, it's a big turmoil in the world. People know that it got lost and came back. Then we'll be aware. We'll be very smart and informed and say, says the lekuach, I'm not giving you just because you have a nice little shtar over here with Beis Din's hechsher with the date. No, tell me, prove to me when the shtar was actually, when the halva was given to you. When was the shtar chov given to your hands, Mr. Malva, because you gave the loan? Just like he works by a get, it should work by any shtar chov. And that would be a super easy solution to many shtar chov mukdam, concern of the mukdam, even if they fell. And says the Gemara, it's not the same. Why not? There's a difference between get and a regular shtar chov. Amri, they say, hacha gabi get isha, over here, when it comes to get isha, to the get of the woman, osi lokeach v'tovo. The lokeach, again, you have to be aware of the fact that both gittin and shtars that fell, people know that they fell. The Rashba says it and others. A lokeach faced by the woman will come assertively, endorsed by us, Beis Din, v'tovo, and he'll demand. What will he demand? Lady, don't show me documents. Tell me when you actually got the get, and then you really got back the fruit from your husband. Miloog. Omar, you know why the person would demand it? He would say, you know why Rabbanan gave the get back to the lady when we all heard the story of the guy who found it in Tachanam Merkazit and then gave it back to the lady? You know why Chachamim said you should give it back to her? Mishum delote agin v'teisiv, aguna, just like you showed me now in the news. Yeah, we don't want a woman to be an aguna. The reason why they gave her back the get is nothing to do with what? With money. The main reason why Chachamim paskin to the finder, go back and give it back to her, because we want to avoid the gunos. And the main reason why a woman gets a get has nothing to do with money. Money is marginal. Money is the side thing. So the reason why Rabbanon, I'm just translating now. And soon I'll explain the deeper concept. Now I'm just translating. The reason why they gave it back to her, so she get divorced and remarry with Shidduchim. I hashta de ka'asya mitraf. Now she wants to use the get as a secondary thing, as a collection item to collect it from others. She should bring us a proof. We would obviously demand to know, when did the get actually come to your hands, so you really, really got back the nichse miloog with all the oranges and apples which you claim are yours, as opposed to what? And soon I'll explain the deeper stuff. I'm just translating. As opposed to hocho, as opposed to over here, gabi shtar choiv. When it comes to shtar, what's a shtar choiv? Reuven lent money to Shimon. Is there any difference there except for money and shibudim? No, nobody is getting divorced. Yeah. What's the only nafkamina of shtar choiv? Three things: kesef, money, and geld of the lekuchos. Lo osi lokech b'tova. The lokech would not actually imagine in his wildest dreams, or even the Beis Din that endorse him, and he would say, he would say like this: if Rabbanon paskin to the finder that he can give it back, the shtar choiv, to the malveh, what do Chachamim declare by saying yes, he can give it back to him? Shita, obviously, what's the reason why Chachamim gave it back to him? That means they only gave it back to him for one reason, that shtar is there in order to take from the lekuchos. If Beis Din endorsed the shtar be given back to the malveh, and they said yes, you can give it back to him, shmamino, that is to say, the lekuach would think that Chachamim kamu rabbanon b'mirsa. Chachamim found out. Kamu means they actually looked into it. Umekami didi, and before I came to the story, mata shtor liyodei, the shtar came to his hands. I will explain now like this. I know it's a bit complicated. Let me start. I'll explain everything. I'm going to start with a moshel and then go back to us. I want to tell you something real from real life, which you may think it's crazy, nothing to do with it. And then I'll slowly get you back to our Gemara, and Ezra Hashem, you'll all understand it very well. You know that supposedly, and I believe so, the best hechsher in Israel over food is, but that's Edech Haredis. I've heard it from many people, so they say. Edech Haredis are very good, very meticulous. They can get hard with people who are not listening to them. I've spoken to many people, mashgichim, so, but that's Edech, I hope Rav Simkin agrees, but that's Edech Haredis are very, very good. And lo and behold, and Salish and Hara, Salish and Hara at all. I looked in the Badatz wine. I once picked up in the supermarket wine with hechsher Badatz, very nice. I looked in the bottom of the bottle, yeah, and that bottle is produced by who? By factory, which I know is known as Michal Shabbos. How come? Because Badatz are not in charge of that. Probably if you'd call Badatz, they say that's not part of our, it's not under our umbrella of Hashgacha. We're mashgich that the wine should not be nesach or latevel shvis, you name it. They also take care that it shouldn't be non-sneezdik advertisement, seriously, or Mishkav Zocher advertisement, seriously, yeah, whatever. There was such a case with Doritos, yes. The kids they make sure that all is well up to a certain point. Yeah, let's say somebody wants to be super frum and say, I only buy from a guy who's Shomer Shabbos in his own house. No, that's not Badatz's under their auspices, under their responsibility. So when I buy wine, I know that the wine is kosher, no tevel, no shvis, no orla, no nesach, no goy. I know that when I make the kiddush. What about if the bottle was produced on Shabbos or not? I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. And Badatz will tell it, listen, it's none of our business. We're just not, it's not within a range of, there's a gvul, there's a limit. We can't only give a shem to people super charedim. What does that have to do with anything? I'll tell you what it has to do. When a person is approached by a woman, yeah, and that woman says, excuse me, mister, the oranges you bought, whatever, yesterday, yeah? Those oranges you bought yesterday, and really, she got divorced only today. That's the emes. She's lying. I got divorced 6 months ago. 6 months ago, I got divorced, yeah? And what you bought yesterday belongs to me. 6 months ago already, this orchard is mine. And she starts crying like a woman, emotional, and goes all over the internet, all very nice. The man would tell her, now the man knows, and everybody knows, and the Beis Din involved knows, that this get fell and was once and was instructed to be given to her. That we know. That's why we're talking here only about a get that fell, not about a regular get. A regular get, we're not concerned, by the way. A regular get, with no special stories and turbulence in the middle. We assume it was written and given the same day because that's the normal way. But this get has stories with it. Now, a person would say, Beis Din endorsed the fact that the woman should receive the get. So does that mean that Beis Din, by giving her the get, their hechsher of Beis Din, like the story of the Badatz, yeah, does that hechsher of the get shows that really the get was written and given the same day? No. The reason why they gave her the get, they allowed her to get the get, is for not to get a guna. Beis Din did not think about the money because money is not the main issue of a get. It's a side issue. It's like the bottle of the wine as opposed to the wine. Beis Din are not in charge. You want to now find out if the get was really given to her the time that she claims because you don't want to use her apples. Very good. So inquire. So find out, and we'll endorse you by that. Say Beis Din, because the original Beis Din who told her to get the get, it doesn't mean that the date and of the writing and the giving was really the same date. No, it doesn't mean that. We just quickly gave it to her so that husband should not be me'agen her and hold on to the get. That's all. But she'ein ken, when in the second story, which I did not explain so much an hour ago, when a person is approached like the classical story all over the sugya by a malve, Mr. Reuven, and we know that the star fell and had stories with it, v'chule, and we know that Beis Din said, okay, give back the star to Reuven. If Beis Din said to the finder in Tachana Merkazit, give the star back to Reuven, that is to say, Beis Din looked into the star, which is questionable because it fell. They found out that it's good, and the star is only nafkamina. The only difference of Reuven, yes, holding the star or not holding the star, is his ability to go to the Lekuchos. So if Beis Din said Reuven can hold on to the star, it's as if they're endorsing with the Badatz temple that star was written and given on the same date and not the star mukdam. Because Beis Din would not endorse the star mukdam. They obviously found out that it's mukdam. That's what the person would think. That's why we say, and we really did not look into it. Because really they did not look into it, the kilo removed the hechsher, and they say, if you found the star techna merkazit, don't give it back. Don't give it back. Because if you do give it back and you say, yes, give it back, it's as if we gave the hechsher on something we didn't. The lekuchas would assume, hey, Beis Din with the big white beards, with the most machmir Beis Din, what happened to them? They really told him to give it, they instructed the finder to give it to the one who lost it to the malve. So must be Beis Din really say that it's not a star mukdam, it's a kosher madrin star, and really we don't know. We don't know if it's mukdam or not. A regular star, go along. A star that fell, you want our haskama to give it back. We can't give that. And the person wouldn't ask questions later, the lakuach, because he would assume that Badatz took care of that already. It's the wine, not the bottle. It's the actual part that they're supposed to be in charge, because when it comes to shtar choiv, the only nafkamina is the money, this field of the lakuach. Only by a woman, when people would say, no, well, you have chashash, Badatz said that she should get the get. Yes, and Badatz said that she should get the get because they don't want her to be an aguna, because she has a shidduch date tomorrow. Tomorrow she's going to be in Ramada in the lobby in a shidduch with a guy, and she needs to show him the get to her previous husband. That's why they quickly said to give it back to her. But it doesn't mean anything to do with the money. Mimela, the lakuach that she goes to would ask questions about the money because he doesn't even think that it's included in Beis Din's askoma. That's just. Okay, one question and we continue. Yes, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. The next case, which is very easy and very similar to what we just said now, is a case of what? A get of an eved. An eved got a get, not a get of divorce, but a get that shows that he's a free man. A person found a star in the shuk that says that so-and-so eved is free, is a free man. If the Rav, meaning the master admits that he freed the slave, then he's free and give it back to him. Let's say the Eved said, I got that star, I'm a free man. And the master says, no, you're not free, I'm still the owner, so don't give it back to anybody. Like Lavdil by woman. This is very similar to before. We see that if both sides agree, you give it back to the Eved. Why is that? The same thing can happen with an Eved. The master thought of freeing the Eved in Nisan, wrote him the shtar, yeah, and only 6 months later, but Tishrei, that's when he gave it to him. So what's the problem? Listen to this. The Ozal Avda, the Eved between Nisan and Tishrei, in that black hole time, the Eved went and bought Nechosim. He put a nice tie and very fancy thing, and he started buying property. Minisan ve'at Tishrei, from Nisan at Tishrei, the Eved bought property. Now, the Ozil, listen to this, and the Ozil Harav. So now, the Eved, he bought those Nechosim. Who is the owner of the Nechosim? The master. Vashekono Eved kono Rabbi. A slave came to the nice lawyer's office and bought the property. Really, who's the owner? The master. The Ozil Harav, the Zabrinu. And really, the Rav, the master, took those Nechosim bought by his Eved and belonging to him, to the master, and he sold them onwards. And you know it's going to be now? Eventually, in Tishrei, the Eved became a free man. Mr. Eved, being very smart, he'll walk around the country to all the people who bought the pieces of land from the master, and he will say, look, hey, you bought from my master that piece of land between Nisan in Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz, Av, Elul? No, it's really mine. It'll be Torf Lakuchas illegally. Again, what's the story? The Eved will show them, look, my name is Abdul ben Mahmoud, and I now am a free man. I was free already in Nisan. And when I bought those lands, I was a free man. These lands are mine. Give it to me. And it's not true. He only became free in Tishrei. And those lands, although bought by him, they really belong to the master. Very similar to the woman's case. Now continues the Gemara to elaborate with the question. Oh, there's a big question if it's good for an Eved to be free or not good to be free. So please eradicate and erase from your minds anything you know from a Western culture. Thank you. Because everyone will say, of course it's good for him to be free. No. Halacha says it differently. There's a question whether being free is good. On one hand, you can say, of course, being free is good. It's chayv b'mitzvahs, v'chulei. On the other hand, some people say, no, it's not good for an Eved to be free. You know why? First of all, if he's an Eved of a Kohen, gets to eat Truma. Now that he's not an Eved Kohen, he can't eat Truma. And also, if the person is promiscuous and a regular man with taivus, with carnal desires, it's much better for him to be an Eved. An Eved can have a shifcha available all the time. Once he's a free man, he's a frum Jew. He's very related. He's very limited with his choice of women. Has to get married properly. So it's not so simple if it's a zchus or a choiva. Says the Gemara. Hanicha, that the question would not start, would be okay. If you said that it's good for an Eved to actually be free and get out of the hands of his master, and also you have to add Abaye, the Omar Eda b'chasum of Zochin Lei. Remember Abaye? Abaye says once you write a get or you write a shtar, even before it was given, that's when everything really happens. Abaye almost has no case of shtar mukdam. Abaye say if I wrote I am committing myself to something, even before it was given, already the commitment started. So if you say that I can actually sit without the Eved's knowledge and write a shtar, an affidavit of shichrur, of freedom to the Eved, and it's good for the Eved, then 6 months later, when they give it to him in Tishrei, retroactively, he was really free from 6 months ago. Then Shapir, then the Eved is right. Get this again. If you say that in Nisan, Abraham Lincoln came to the master and convinced him to write a shtar, and it's good for the Eved, according to Abaye, once written, that's really the determining point. That's a crucial point. 6 months later was given to the Eved. Retroactively, he was freed from the time of writing. Good. Then the Eved is right if he collects all the money. True, because he was really a free man retrospectively. But according to the one who says that the Eved who goes free is a choiv, is not good for him, because why? He cannot have 10 girlfriends all the time, and it's not good for him, and therefore you can't write something chovin laodam, ein chovin laodam shaloi b'fonov. You can't write something to an Eved without him accepting and agreeing. He has to be part of it. You can't just write it without him knowing. Michael Amemar. Then what are you going to say? In other words, writing alone without him being part of the story doesn't do anything. You can't do it behind his back. And only when he actually got the get shichur, then he became free. From then onwards, and not retroactively. No, so there's a problem. Answers the Gemara the same answer. When the Eved would come to what? To collect from the other people, we're going to tell him, same solution as by the woman. Then people will assertively tell him, Mr. Eved, we're so happy you're free man. So nice, egalitarian, what a beautiful world. All the slaves are free. But, excuse me, before you actually take all those lands that you claim are already yours because you got the Eved, the shtar shichur from 6 months ago, we don't believe you. You got, it shows there was written in Nisan, but when was it given? Give us a proof that it was given on Nisan, and if it was only given on Tishrei, we need Eidim when it was given, and then he'll fail. If he's a liar, he'll fail on that one, and then everybody will know that those fruit and those things were sold really when the Eved was still an Eved, and he will not be able to lie and collect it from them, and they live happily ever after. Thank you very much. Atzlocho Rabbo. We are in the second wide line. Remember for tomorrow. Atzlocho Yeshua. Mishmar Thursday night with a shear from Rav Cohen and from me and the Beis Medrash. Yes.